So, thanks for the one person who participated in the vote that I put up 1 month ago. I don't know how you can look up who that was, but this video is for you. I'm doing a video about The Craft. I've watched it. I think it is a fairly decent movie. It must have been it must have been for girls what Chronicle was for boys in the 2010s. I think, and I mean, there's much to love about it. It has Neve Campbell and Robin Tunney in the 90s, and if you know how good these women look nowadays, imagine them in their prime back in the 90s. And for one, that's really good. I didn't really give too much of a shit about the plot. I'm being honest. But it also was not very captivating. I think because the film has a higher focus on aesthetics and not really about building those characters. That being said, the but and by that I mean, for example, the character of Nancy and becomes the main antagonist. There's the other characters played by Neve Campbell and Rachel True, who's the black girl, Rochelle. I failed to mention her name earlier. They more move into the background and are basically henchmen to Nancy. Their characters being largely reduced from their introductory point and becomes more about the battle between Nancy and Sarah, who's played by Robin Tunney, for leadership of the coven, so to speak. And that's a shame, you know. If you introduce all four main characters of your cast as four very individual characters and then peel back two in favor of the other two, it's kind of the same problem that I have sometimes with the Ninja Turtles, where the main focus is on Raphael and Leonardo, and Michelangelo and Donatello are kind of the B squad. I don't think that's really fair to go, but it is what happens in this film. What we have is pretty decent performances, pretty solid performances, a lot of style and aesthetics, and there's certainly a place and a room for that. And if you want to watch this film purely for its aesthetics, it's great, but it does kind of feel like a television movie. And not to say television movies are bad, it's just they have a different standard to normal films, and it feels more like it was made for television. As for the story, it's about the girl getting in touch with other girls who do magic and shit, and she herself deals with a lot of issues, and they're all kind of damaged in various ways. For example, the main girl, who's played by Robin Tunney, she thinks she caused the death of her mother. The film is not super clear about it, but there's also a lot of insecurities and depression inside of her. Then we have Neve Campbell, who's dealing with a skin condition on her back, like burn marks, and that obviously troubles her. The black girl of the group deals with racism, and lastly, Nancy, who's also kind of the antagonist later on, comes from a bad home life, and that's her kind of gist, and they all kind of decide to do magic together, and it begins harmless but slowly escalates as they grow more proficient and see for more spells that they can do together. And yeah, that's basically it. Now the film is fairly formulaic in its storytelling until and it's an easy joyride, so to speak. Just the final, I felt bored during the final, and mainly has to do with Nancy, who's played by, and I'm absolutely gonna butcher that name, Fairuza Balk. Now it's kind of easy to play crazy, I would say, and there's a difference between acting crazy good, or being good at playing crazy, and sadly it falls kind of in this cringy way as her character kind of escalates, and so for me it was kind of boring to watch because Nancy doesn't make for an interesting antagonist. Everything about her should be interesting and is on paper interesting, but the showdown between her and Robin Tunney's character Sarah is kind of anticlimactic. And I understand, I view it through a modern perspective. Back then, when the film came out in '96, it was probably more impressive. And I mean, this film has a cult following. Like I said earlier in the video, this film is for girls what Chronicle is for boys, and probably it was also the sexual awakening for many of the youth. It's just, yeah, the final was kind of underwhelming, and that's pretty much all I have to say. It's a film, as decent. I generally like it. There's not too much special about it. Even the whole magical concept, it doesn't go too deep into like territories that I would feel uncomfortable with. We're dealing with witchcraft. That's there's no beating around the bush, but it's not. It's kept fairly vague about who they're praying to and how it's organized, and I think that helps getting into the film because it doesn't try to turn you off with its concept. Yeah, next video. Last thing I wanna say, I kind of sound bummed out in this video because I tried to upload the previous video and got copyright things and was basically blocked twice, and by the third time it worked now and there's no issue, but it was just not a good experience trying to put a video together that's getting striked and striked again. And yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Well, the books are full of words that you read, and the show gets me paid.